Hi there, food fans. I just want to say to all the ladies in the house that I've got some good news and some bad news. The good news is today's episode of Good Eats is all about teaching your significant other how to prepare and to present unto you a breakfast in bed that will rival the room service of the finest six-star hotel. The bad news is that, well, this wouldn't really be much of a surprise if you watch the show. So just this once, I'm going to ask you to kind of clear out. Go read a book, take a soak in the tub, take a hike. I don't care, but give us guys a little bit of private time. You'll be glad you did. Okay, guys, while the ladies head on out, I want you to gather up a pad and a pen or pencil because we're going to cover a lot of territory today, and you're going to want to take notes. Are they gone? Good. Let me tell you something, fellas. The last thing on earth you want to go messing around with is breakfast in bed. You want to know why? Because all it does is raise expectations. Pretty soon, you're going to be expected to share and cuddle and take out the trash. Nope, what we really need to spend time doing is working on our man food skills. Now, why did I run them out of the room? Simple. They want you to watch what you eat. They want you to watch your cholesterol intake, your sodium intake, your fat intake, your intake. They want you to watch your waist. And that's all fine and good. But you know, sometimes a man has got to eat what a man has got to eat. And I'm here to tell you that these guilty pleasures, besides tasting good, really are. Thanks a lot, Shauna. Bye. You know, most Americans have their first and last corn dogs here among the rickety rides, the shabby sideshows, the questionable gaming, and general cotton candy cacophony of the carnival. And it makes sense. I mean, after all, this is the natural habitat for the corn dog. And I don't say that just because this is deep fried and has a stick shoved into it. Truth is, the corn dog was born here. Well, not here exactly, but at a carnival. Excuse me. Okay, so it wasn't actually a carnival. It was a fair, a state fair, the Texas State Fair. It was 1942 when Neil and Carl Fletcher, brothers who were vaudevillians turned concessionaries, had a real 2001 monkey touch the monolith moment and dipped a dog into batter into the fryer. And although that may be the first dipped dog on record, there is evidence to support the argument that the corn dog is much older. It could be that German sausage makers invented it when they moved to San Antonio, Texas, around the turn of the century, maybe even the late 1800s. Personally, I could care less who invented this thing. I'm just thankful they did. Can you make them at home? Oh, yeah. With a little know-how and the right technology. And I don't mean a Ferris wheel. Faithful fans may recall that in earlier frying forays, I eschewed the use of a deep fryer in favor of a heavy-duty pot. Of course, back then, most fryers made for home use were nothing more than lightweight pots with heating elements welded onto the bottom. I do not like these devices, Sam I am, because they don't actually heat the oil. The element heats the pot, then the pot has to heat the oil. So they are slow, they are hard to control, and obviously very dangerous to the touch. And if something happens to snag the cable, just imagine if that had happened with a few quarts of 350-degree oil inside. Not only would you spill your French fries all over the floor, but you'd be screaming like a banshee. Luckily, modern manufacturers take their cue from restaurant fryers. Okay, take a look at this. The heating element actually goes down inside the oil, so it's heating the oil and not the pot. There's a nice big digital control here to hold the temperature exactly precisely where you want it. And this just slides right onto the easy to clean fry area, which is nice and big. There's also a basket, which allows you to get food in and out very quickly, and a bracket to drain it from. Heck, you might as well build yourself your own drive-through window here. Now, there's a lid that is vented, which is nice because it lets steam out during cooking, and that means you can leave the lid on, and that's a lot safer. Oh, speaking of safety, this whole thing fits down inside a stainless steel chassis that remains cool to the touch even during long fry sessions. Oh, and remember that pesky cable a minute ago? Well, all of these models come with special breakaway cables. Barely give them a tug, and they pop right off. Nice and safe. Now, when trying to decide between these models, I look at a couple of different criteria. One is capacity. I want a fryer that can hold at least 5 liters of oil, and I want a really nice wide temperature grading, okay? This one goes from about 160 to 385. This one tops out at 360, a little low for me. And this one makes it up to 375, but it's not a digital control, so come to Daddy. Now, I'm starting with a gallon of peanut oil here. You know, one of the biggest mistakes that novice fryers make is that they don't use enough fat because they assume that more oil means greasier food. However, truth is the inverse is true. You see, the more oil there is, the more residual heat there is, okay? So when you put the cold food into the fryer, the temperature in the fryer rebounds or recovers quickly, which is a good thing. Now, I like peanut oil because it stands up well to high heat and it degrades slowly, so I get several fry sessions out of one change of oil. If peanut oil is not available in your area, or if you have a peanut allergy in the house, feel free to use one of these fine fats. Now, I am going to put on the lid for safety and set this for 375 degrees. And now, time to let the dogs out. Although any sausage, cooked sausage, the approximate size and shape of a wiener can be employed in the construction of corn dogs, I like plain old beef franks. By the way, the word wiener comes from Wiener Wurst, which is German for Vienna sausage, which is American for little meat stick you feed kids who don't know any better but to eat them. The word Frankfurter was dreamed up by a guy from Frankfurt. Hard to believe. He supposedly invented the hot dog bun. Of course, we don't need no stinking hot dog buns. We do, however, need sticks. Popsicle sticks, stirrers, tongue depressors, coffee things, disposable knitting noodles. Heck, I've tried them all, but I have never found a better corn dog handle than the sticks that you get with Chinese takeout. The secret is to leave them connected. Next up, we batter up. Well, hand-squeezing orange juice certainly takes some time, and it's a fair amount of work, but I'm willing to bet your better half's worth it. Speaking of better halves, I'm willing to bet a few of them have crept back in the room for a peek. Now, ladies, we made a deal. You gotta scat on out of here, okay? Okay, go on, go back to your book or wherever. Give us guys some private time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. They gone? Good. And now back to our batter. If you've ever made cornbread, this software is going to look pretty familiar. Let's start with the dry team. In a very large bowl, combine 1 cup of cornmeal with 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, and last but not least, 1 whopping cup of all-purpose flour. Stir to combine and set aside. In another mixing bowl, we place 2 tablespoons of minced jalapeno pepper, 1/3 of a cup of grated onion, the contents of 1 8.5-ounce can of cream of corn, and 1.5 cups of good old buttermilk. Stir to combine. Now, you can make the batter up to this point hours, days, probably weeks ahead of time to no ill effect. But once you do this, you are committed. Now stir this as few times as possible, just enough to bring it together. Remember, lumps are not important, but letting this rest for 10 minutes before you use it is. That way, all the little flour granules in all the cornmeal can soak up some water. There, I'm going to leave this alone. Oh, I am going to put it into a drinking glass, though. final fry station checklist. 8 skewered wieners, check. Cornstarch dredge, check. Glass full of batter, check. 375-degree oil, check. Drain rig, check. Gentlemen, we are ready to begin our sequence. First, take a wiener. Second, roll it around in the cornstarch. Make sure that it is evenly applied, and then tap off all of the excess. This is an important step. Why? Because you want the starch layer to be as thin as possible. If there's too much starch on there, the batter will just slide off into the fryer. Now, speaking of the batter, straight in the cup, a quick swizzle, and straight up and into the fryer. There. Now, I wouldn't put more than 2 of these in the fryer at one time or you'll overload it. Oh, and see those bubbles? Those are important. Why? Well, come on. Okay, just bear with me a minute here. Let's pretend that the guys on the right side of the line represent the water inside the corn dog batter, and the guys on the left side of the line represent the hot oil that we're about to put the corn dog in. Oh, and in the quarterback position, my apprentice, Paul. Hi. Okay, as long as the oil stays at around 350 degrees, the water inside the corn dog batter will turn into vapor and try to push out. Therefore, the forces will be equal, and the food will cook until it is golden brown and delicious, but it will not be greasy. Problem is, 2 things can go wrong here. If the food is left in the oil too long, there just won't be enough vapor. Or if the oil drops in temperature, then there won't be enough heat to generate vapor in the first place. In either case, this is the result. Grease marches into the food. Greasy eats, not good eats. You okay over there, Paul? In 4 to 5 minutes, you have a golden brown and delicious corn dog. And these are as good as, well, you know what? They're the best corn dogs in the world, I guarantee. Just let them drain and then serve while hot with mustard and or ketchup. Now, take this, would you? I've got more manual labor to manage. Although the firepower of a commercially minded deep fryer is indeed muy macho. When it comes to kitchen-based electrics, I think that the griddle is the ultimate expression of the Y chromosome. Maybe it's the wide open range of steel. Maybe it's the fact that manly amounts of the world's most masculine food are born here. Hamburgers. I'm talking the original hamburger here. Little bite-sized jewels that you stack up in a basket and consume in a manly gulp. Call them sliders, call them belly bombs, call them gut grenades. I call them good eats. And to make them right, you need one of these. Then all you have to do is pull out these corners to make the feathers. And there you go, the perfect decoration for a breakfast in bed tray.
That is just adorable. I'll try that at home.
Good. Bye-bye. Oh, ladies, you're not supposed to be in the room. How are the guys going to surprise you with these lovely little tips if you're snooping? Go on. Bye-bye. They gone? Good.
Gee, Dad, my first griddle. Do you think I'm ready?
Well, son, I was about your age when I got mine.
Come on, let's go home and sear something.
You betcha, sport. Listen now, let's not mention this to your mom.
A beautiful moment, wouldn't you say? You know, I can remember the day that my dad took me down to the kitchenware store to get my first griddle. It was exciting. It would look just like this. Although, now that I look at this is kind of puny, isn't it? I mean, it's only 10 inches by 15 inches, kind of lightweight, underpowered too. Definitely a boy's grill. But you know, you grow up and you need bigger tools. This is what I'm talking about. We've got 21 inches by 12.5 inches, and I'd say about a solid inch of aluminum. That means that not only do we have the space to cook, but we've got enough mass to really soak up and hold some heat. Hey, let's look under the hood, shall we? Oh yeah, nice big heating element and a high volume grease tray. It's important for a guy. And when things get really, really messy, a snap-on backsplash. Come to Papa. Great burgers start here. Chuck, which has great flavor and just enough fat to keep things juicy. 20%, plus or minus a point or two. Try to use leaner meat, and your burgers will be dry and crumbly. Now, I usually like to grind my own, but I have to admit, I don't always have the time, and I suspect neither do you. But don't worry, this guy's got the time and the skills. Yeah. Medium grind on that, okay?
You got it.
Perfect. Now, if you have to resort to pre-ground, know that things are not always what they seem. Although by law, a package of 80% lean ground chuck can contain no more than 20% fat, it doesn't necessarily have to be 100% chuck. Strange, but true. So, I think you're better off picking out a nice chuck steak and having it ground to order. If the butchers in your market don't want to bother, then don't bother with them. Thanks a lot, Ed.
Welcome, Alton.
See you, Ed.
See you, Alton.
Set your griddle to 350 degrees and then take a moment to contemplate your buns. Now, I like my basket burgers to be perfectly proportioned, so I choose the bread and then shape the patties to fit. I like these little potato bread rolls. Soft, but not too soft. And just the right size for a 2-bite burger. Just wrap these in a little bit of foil and put them into a 250-degree oven for about 10 minutes. And now, the main event. Line your favorite jelly roll pan or half sheet pan with parchment paper and then plop down your 1 pound of ground chuck. Top that with plastic wrap and then roll it out with your favorite rolling pin or an empty wine bottle, which is what I had. The goal here is to roll the meat until it completely fills the bottom of the pan. Now this will be a very, very thin layer indeed. Then season with a combination of a half teaspoon onion powder, half teaspoon of garlic powder, half teaspoon of black pepper, and a half teaspoon of kosher salt. Fold the paper over, thus folding the meat in half, and then just kind of trim it up, clean it up there, and then cut it into 8 even patties with your pizza cutter. Then straight to the 350-degree griddle. Yeah, I know they're small, but look at it this way. They only take about 2 minutes to cook on each side, and they're seasoned all the way through, so every little bite's going to be delicious. And heck, they're so small you can eat 20 or 30 without getting that bloated, overfed feeling. Besides, large burgers have distinct disadvantages. And when you've got a whole lot of meat, you've got to manage the heat so that the inside will cook through, but the outside won't overcook. And that takes time. And time is not known for being very polite to ground meat. Why? Simple. Okay, let's say for a second that we stick some really high heat on a big honking hamburger. First, juices start running out all over the place, right? But then all this connective tissue starts... Where was I? Oh yeah, the connective tissue draws up so tight that your nice little flat patty turns into this big, nasty pile of flesh. An orb, so to speak, that it's almost impossible to keep a hamburger bun on it. Of course, you could take care of that by just continuing the cooking process in the presence of a little bit of liquid, but it would take a long time, and by then the damage would be done. The meat would be dead and lifeless, kind of like me. Well, it's been 2 minutes and it's time to turn. Your best tool for the job, a flexible plastic or silicone spatula. This can scoot under the meat without scratching the nonstick surface. So, we're only going to do one turn. Always try to turn the meat over onto a bare spot of griddle. Nice crust. Remember, we're only going to be doing this once. As anyone who's ever tried to put a hot one of these onto a hot one of these can tell you, the juices from this can often turn this into mush before you get the finished device to the table. The answer is a thin coating of mayonnaise. See, since it's 100% fat, the mayonnaise will create basically a watertight barrier between the burger and the bun. That way, this device will stay handleable for, 5 to 10 minutes, if they last that long. Come and get it! Well, fellas, I really think that in the last half hour we've raised the bar on a couple of man food classics. Corn dogs and gut grenades. You know, the way I figure it, if you're gonna eat them, you might as well make them good. Eats, that is. Go! Animals. Okay, guys, you can let the girls back in now, okay? Flowers. So, gentlemen, if you can just remember to balance color, with contrast, and aroma, and shape, well, heck, you're a shoo-in for creating a beautiful morning bouquet for the one you love. Well, that's about all the time we have for this week. See you next time on Good Eats.